Hello, guys. What's up? Welcome to episode 4 of Footie Talkies with me again as your host. अब मेरा series है मैं ही रहूंगा. And we have another panel of guests here. Today, my friend Bhaskar, who's a podcast version, he's here. So he's a Madrid fan. We have Delvin Bhai, who's a Man U fan, and Shubhra Bhai, who's a Arsenal fan. So welcome everybody. And just so you know, Shubhra Bhai is also baby Jesus, as we call him. He's more Jesus-like than Gabriel Jesus. So that's what we like to call him. So आज का एपिसोड थोड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है बिकॉज आज यूसीएल भी हो गया. हम लोग खेल नहीं रहे वो अलग बात है, बट आज यूसीएल भी था. सो आज हम लोग यूसीएल लेके बात करेंगे, थोड़ा ट्रांसफर एज यूजुअल लिवरपूल लेके. आज फाइनली एक मद्रिद वाला है तो उसको लेके भी बात करेंगे. बट फर्स्ट शुरू करेंगे रियल मैड्रिड वर्सेस जो उनका लास्ट गेम किसका था अगेंस्ट लाइप्जिग, राइट?
Leipzig.
सो
Yeah.
यूसीएल से करते हैं स्टार्ट. बहुत सारे बारसा फैंस हैं हमारे इधर. मैं डेल्विन भाई बारसा को बहुत चाहते हैं दिल से. सो भास्कर स्टार्ट.
Yeah. So last match तुम लोग देखा ही होगा यूसीएल का Madrid versus RB Leipzig. So like ठीक है, it was good, but I think that playing five midfielders by Ancelotti, that was not a good move. Like, why would you bench Rodrigo? He's performing. Why would you bench Rodrigo and bring on other players? I don't get it. Like, defensively we weren't that good, and if it wasn't for Luis Openda, we would have conceded many goals. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
Mr.
I did find the team selection a little wacky, to be said, because this is something that Ancelotti doesn't do. This is not Ancelotti at his most at his best. It is something out of the ordinary that he's done, and I'd be inclined to think that this is something of an outlier, that he's trying to be a little. It felt like he was trying to be a little too pragmatic for his own good. I think he somehow felt that the result was in the bag, and
Exactly.
and I think the team played the exact same way. I think there was a little casualness to the way that Madrid approached the game also. Leipzig, to their credit, they've been a very plucky side. Obviously, we do know the quality that they possess, but I think again, when you're playing someone like Real Madrid, the chances that you create is a good thing, but then it matters for none if you don't get at the
Yeah.
end of those chances and
You
you
have to
capitalize
convert
and
those
score them.
chances.
Right? Precisely. And who better to tell you than that a United fan? So you have to capitalize on your chances. You need to finish them. You need to end those chances, and that is where Leipzig faltered. So I
Yeah.
think they gave a good account of themselves, but I think round of 16 was a very realistic proposition for Leipzig, especially the moment when they realized that Madrid were their opinions. But I think Madrid need to play much more better, I think. And this
Yes.
experimentation that Carlo is trying to do, or whatever he's trying to implement, needs to go out of the window as soon as possible.
Like, we are playing good with a diamond four-man midfield. I think we should continue it for the rest of the season. That's
आप
what
लोग
I'm
के
That's the
thinking.
way
फोर
to
में है
go.
कौन कौन? फोर में है कौन? One's Valverde, one's Bellingham, and the other two
And
are
Chouameni.
Chouamani.
as the CDM, as the pivot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And
No,
Tony Cruz.
I think Valverde plays base, no? Valverde plays base.
No,
Base of the
Valverde is
diamond
meant
is
to be the
Valverde.
no base of the diamond. I think it's Chouameni. Valverde is the workhorse of our team. He will provide you work
Okay.
rate all over the field. Tony Cruz,
Okay.
I think he's the one who creates chances. He's the most
And I
creative
think,
player.
and then Bellingham's the tip.
Yeah, he's the tip.
Bellingham's the tip of the diamond. Yeah, all right.
Exactly. And Vinicius and Rodrigo on the two flanks, and they
Mm-hmm.
attack. Yeah, they attack mostly from the left and right half spaces, and Bellingham in
Yeah,
the middle.
yeah, obviously. And then base, you'll have Hoselu as your striker. So
Yeah, like I've been seeing recently, Hoslu hasn't been getting as much chances as he deserves. Like he had been playing well. He has almost 10 plus goals. I think he has 12 goals, I guess, in this season. But still, I don't know why Ancelotti is not playing him. He's not giving him much game time.
mm-hmm.
Same goes for same goes for Brahim Diaz, I think.
Yeah, I think there's something there. But then I think maybe for now
So
his
moving away
focus is
from
on the league. Could say so, because because things are heating
हो
up on the
सकता है,
league side as well,
but
you know,
जीतेंगे ही
because
वो लोग, जीतेंगे वो लोग.
because there are, I mean, yeah, but
दो
then
रेड कार्ड.
obviously things do tend to get a little prickly when it comes towards the end stages of La Liga. We've always seen that. Like
बिल्कुल सही.
no team has managed to no team has managed to stroll through the Liga in the final 2 months of the season is what I've always noticed. So maybe there could be priorities here in play.
No, no, I feel like this is a rough patch that we are going through, and we will
Mm-hmm.
recover from this.
Yeah.
Like Jude Bellingham has got two
when
suspensions, but I
when
think he will be fine.
मद्रिद ने रिकवर कब कब नहीं किया है, वो अगर ढूंढने नहीं निकलेंगे ना तो बहुत टाइम निकल जाएगा. चलो,
Last season,
उससे
bro,
मूविंग ऑन
Man
टू अ
City.
बेटर साइड और द वर्स्ट साइड इन ऑफ स्पेनिश फुटबॉल. वन जिसके चाहने वाले बहुत है यहाँ पे, दैट इज बार्सिलोना. तो बारसा वर्सेस नेपोली, मेरे लिए, मैं वही गेम देख रहा था उस दिन, लास्ट नाइट. एंड द प्लेयर हु हैज इम्प्रेस्ड मी एज अगेन were actually Zambo Anguissa, and यहाँ से it was Kvaratskhelia, mostly on the second half. But where I felt a major problem for Napoli came was उनका जो link up play है ना, 1-2 है, वो बहुत लैक करता है. मतलब I was seeing कि Kvaratskhelia बॉल लिया, 2 मीटर भागा, तो उसके बाद यूजुअली क्या होता है कि जो लेफ्ट विंगर होता है वो लेफ्ट फुल बैक को पास करता है फॉर द क्रॉस, राइट. वो जब भी वो कर रहा है, लेफ्ट फुल बैक इधर बहुत स्टैंड हो जा रहा है, या फिर उसके पास बॉल नहीं आ रहा, या फिर उसको समझ ही नहीं आ रहा कि उसको करना क्या है. देयर इज अ होल लॉट ऑफ कंफ्यूजन गोइंग ऑन, probably for the new manager and everything, but वहां पे I feel they had suffered a lot, even though this guy कमात के लिए was acting really well. इसके अलावा जैम्बो एंजीसा प्रेसिंग वाइज, बॉल विनिंग वाइज फैंटास्टिक. बट देन अगेन, आप अगर दो लोगों को अच्छा खेलोगे, पूरा टीम अगर मतलब अगर हगेगा तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते. सो आई विल गो टू बेबी जीसस. हाउ डू यू?
I think, yeah, man. I actually didn't watch the Barca game much because for obvious reasons that the Arsenal game was on
आज
parallelly.
खुश तो बहुत हो
So,
गए आप.
of course, for 14 years बाद. But yeah, talking about Barca, like मैंने highlights देखा मैंने थोड़ा बहुत. But then my main thing was I was looking forward to Osimhen because again he's a striker available in the summer. Every club is like looking at him as the main thing. 112 million release clause. So I actually thought that at such occasions these are the players who rise up to the occasion. But nahi, like I of course none of the Napoli players were up to the mark. But I expected more from Osimhen, especially in this kind of a game, and he didn't really show up.
Osimhen is somebody Arsenal is have been scouting, right? So, like,
Yes.
how do you feel
Entire
about Osimhen right
entire
now?
continent is, but yeah, Arsenal's one of them.
I mean, like Osimhen, I know, like he has the hype, everything around him, and probably when you look at it from like a FIFA EAFC perspective, now it fits in very well. But like genuinely, what I feel is like probably someone like Ollie Watkins, I would prefer that over Osimhen for
No,
sure.
I
Well,
love him.
Brilliant
Shivayu,
take.
I love
let
him
me
too.
ask you
Brilliant
one
take.
I love
thing.
him too.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
let me ask you one thing. Victor Osimhen or Ivan Toney, which one would you guys prefer? Looking like at the
Osimhen,
financial condition of your
Osimhen,
club.
Osimhen,
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 Osimhen.
Looking at
Osimhen.
the financial condition of your club. Like, are you sure with FFP and all going on, you would be able to afford
Arsenal,
Osimhen?
Arsenal don't have FFP
No, we
problems.
don't have any FFP issues because of our UCL funds coming in and stuff like that. So we don't really have FFP issues this time.
बहुत पैसा है भाई,
It was there in
बहुत
Jan. It
पैसा
was
है.
there in Jan. Jan में
Yeah,
था, yes.
exactly.
Yeah, but it's not there right now. Like in the summer, and that's what you know. That's the best part about Jan. We didn't make any signings,
But
so that
then
it
what will
gives
you do
us
with
the.
Gabriel Jesus? Jesus.
See, Gabriel Jesus anyway, because see, I'll be very honest with you. The
Yeah.
player going out is going to be Eddie and Ketia, and that's where we're going to fill in the striker. So probably Gabriel Jesus will get Eddie and Ketia's role, or probably how I see it, that we are looking for Bukayo Saka's backup. I think Jesus can play that role very well. He plays very
Yes,
well in the wings.
yes.
So Jesus, as I see, probably he could go there. And if say we sign like Victor Gyökeres or Osimhen or maybe Watkins, whoever comes in,
If you
I
guys
see
end
them.
up with Victor Gyökeres, then भाई मतलब होने वाला है बहुत कुछ. अगर वो
I
हो
know
गया ना, बिकॉज
Victor.
सी आपके टीम में साका का डिलीवरी एक्चुअली जेन्युइनली बहुत अच्छा है, प्लस यू
Yeah,
हैव ओडेगार्ड नाउ, प्लस राइस का जो इम्पैक्ट है अभी. सी फॉर वेस्ट हैम इट वाज मच मोर ऑन द डिफेंसिव साइड, बट जैसे ही वो आर्सेनल में आया, आई हैव सीन हिम मच मोर बेटर विद द बॉल, गोइंग अप
yeah,
फ्रंट एंड एवरीथिंग.
He's
तो अगर
always
वो हुआ,
he always had that. I mean, West Ham as a team with the manager at the helm, obviously it's going to be a defense first approach.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see his performances for the England national side, that's
Yeah.
that's not a defensive Rice that you see. That is the Rice that Arsenal have been getting in for large parts of the season. So Rice in an England shirt is exactly what Declan Rice is as a player, uh, where he's not afraid to rampage forward with the ball. He's confident with the ball at his feet. He can pick out passes. While he's not as adept at it as Jude is, but then he's more than proficient when asked to do that job also. So Rice doing what he's doing for Arsenal shouldn't come as a surprise, despite the fact that he was part of a very defensive team in West Ham. Because what Rice is doing with Arsenal is exactly what he does as a player.
Yep. Exactly.
Yes.
What is supposed to do? श्रेयस
Yep.
भाई has
Yes,
asked आर्सेनल का कौन रहेगा अच्छा ओपोनेंट टू गो थ्रू अरे मैं बोलता बार्सिलोना भाई फेल दो
they need to. They
अच्छी
need.
टीम में फेल
They at this point, whichever team that comes in is good. You cannot pick and choose your opponents. Whoever
Yep.
comes in, at the end of the day, Arsenal have to beat them and go through. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
it is what it
We
is.
we'll have to face a difficult opponent at one point or the other if you have to go through, like, till the
Yeah,
make it to
precisely.
Wembley. So there's no like picking. That's what
but if
Odegaard
you
also
face
said.
difficult opponents now you are better equipped actually
Of course, and I think it equips us better for
अच्छा
the Premier League as well.
honestly look exactly
Yep.
better mentality अच्छा looking at the table right now the two teams left are Dortmund versus PSV or Atletico versus Inter so if PSV qualifies and Arsenal face PSV that would be the dream scenario. Other than that, I would feel Arsenal के लिए Atletico will be a tougher choice क्योंकि उनका जो tactical approach है
Inter,
this season हराम
Inter,
बॉल नहीं चल रहा.
Inter. Yeah,
Inter's
exactly.
the
हाँ इंटर ही
best.
बहुत
I
tough है.
don't
हाँ
think.
actually इंटर भी है. इंटर सबसे अच्छा है.
I'm going to go on
I
a
don't think
limb and say
Atletico.
Barella,
Inter's
Lautaro.
top three best in Europe at the moment. Inter's the top three
Yep.
best teams in Europe at the moment. I'll go on a limb and say that.
And
Yes,
they have brilliant players right
it's
now as well.
Marcus
Yep.
Thuram. How are you forgetting Marcus Thuram?
But हाँ
And
exactly
DiMarco on the
the
left back.
sniper.
He's currently
कौन है?
the best
Yeah,
left
Thuram,
back in the
Bastoni,
world right now.
they have Bastoni, Marcus Thuram,
Yeah.
they have Nico Barella. You then obviously they have Lautaro
Dumfries.
Martinez. They have
Wow.
They
Calhanoglu,
have I
They
forgot
have
the boy.
Mkhitaryan,
Calhanoglu who's playing
Mkhitaryan,
as
and
Exactly.
Calhanoglu.
they have Calhanoglu who's playing as deep playmaker, not even CM. He's playing as a fucking
Exactly.
CDM, and he's balling the fuck out for Inter.
And and Mkhitaryan, how
Baby
the fuck
Jesus
did he revive his
laughing in
career,
pain.
man? Like
Baby
he was
Jesus
I
dead
don't
at
laughing.
know.
Man U.
Mkhitaryan, bro. He's played
Mkhitaryan
at
was dead
Arsenal.
at Manchester United
And
Same at
dead
just
at
Arsenal.
Arsenal
now.
also. And dead at
Dead at
Arsenal also.
Arsenal. Full revival, like the Dortmund Mkhitaryan, somewhat like coming back.
Yeah.
प्लस उनका वो भी अच्छा जा रहा है ना मतलब दे हैव अ वेरी बिग लीड इन द सीरिया
They are playing
so they
beautiful
can be
football,
confident
man.
as well.
No,
Yeah.
it's all down to Inzaghi and the way he's got this team to perform. And
Yes.
despite the fact that they're basically on the verge of going skint from a financial
Exactly.
perspective, the
Yeah.
Exactly.
fact that
They
they're
had to
managing
sell
to
their players.
yeah, they had to sell players, and that's it, because the only way they're managing to stay afloat is because of those player sales. So that is the only way they're sustaining themselves right now, and the Champions League revenue. That's about it. No other way that they're getting money in. So this is the only way. So for them, basically, it's all or nothing at this point.
Yep.
बट वो भी है ना कि मतलब उनका एक बहुत बड़ा जो पॉइंट मुझे जो आई फील एटलीस्ट इन सीरिया दिस सीजन फ्रॉम मिलान ओनली बट नॉट फ्रॉम इंटर आई फेल्ट एसी कुड हैव डन मच बेटर with the signings they had spent
Yeah.
quality amount of money like Ruben Loftus-Cheek फिर
Pulisic.
Pulisic to name a few.
Yeah.
So I thought फिर जोविच पे आया था in a better form. So I thought कि उनका गेम जो होगा वो अच्छा होगा. Ultimately अभी न्यूज सुनने में आ रहा है कि लियाओ छोड़ देगा. अच्छा ओम भाई
Because
जस्ट टू
I
आंसर योर
think
क्वेश्चन लैक ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस आर्सेनल को हर्ट करेगा बट उनके पास ना एक मिक्स बंच है मतलब डेक्लन राइस ये सब प्लेयर्स इनएक्सपीरियंस बोल सकते हो बट एकदम हाई प्रोफाइल गेम्स में उन्होंने खेला है
they've,
फॉर
they've
इंग्लैंड
played a
फॉर
Euro
वेस्ट
Personally,
हैम
final. They've
personally,
played
I
a Euro
feel
final.
एग्जैक्टली
You have
yeah.
Jorginho, Havertz as well, like, who played like
Who
in
won the
Champions
Champions
League,
League?
who won
Who
the
won the
Champions League.
Champions League?
एग्जैक्टली
So,
सो उतना भी
Personally,
लैक
I
ऑफ
feel that
एक्सपीरियंस नहीं
no, Arsenal actually lacks some kind of mentality which is needed in crunch situations. Like you can see at last season, they
yeah.
were,
Hmm.
I guess, 8 points of lead against Man U. but still,
with
Man
with
City. Sorry,
no,
City.
yeah,
please, not United, bro. So like, I
sorry,
mean,
yeah, Man City,
you can kick
and
a man when he's down, but we're not that down. Like you're putting us in a title race. Come on,
no,
still time for that. With all due
no. Even
respect to
I felt,
Arsenal,
yeah,
though, 20 years not winning the league and not being competitive, and 14 years away from the knockout stages of the Champions League, obviously there will be nerves, there will be inexperience and all that. But then again, you only get better and you always play what's in front of you. Speaking of Arsenal, I would like to get your insight on the Arsenal game. I mean, you all did make it to the quarterfinals,
Yep.
but I think we had a conversation earlier in the day as well that it was not the best Arsenal performance that we've seen in Europe also. I mean, there were certain parts during the game where it felt like it was very ugly to watch. And Trossard, I think it was Trossard who scored, right?
Yep. Yep. Trossard.
Yeah.
yes.
So Trossard ended up getting the goal. So what were your thoughts on the performance? What were your positives and what were the negatives that you took from the game?
Okay, so when it comes to like positives, I would say most of the game we were solid defensively. Yes, there were patches here and there where like they got past and Raya had to show his brilliance. Of course, Raya was one of the big positives. Clearly shows that why we picked him over, like why did we sign him and totally put Ramsdale on the bench. So these two positives were like very very evident. And when it comes to negatives, I would say there are like again we go back to the same thing that okay we're not clinical enough. Some parts, yes, I agree. We were unlucky. Like, okay, we were, and that's what, like, even Henri had mentioned in one of those previews before that we get the ball till there, we get the ball comfortably till the box. But I don't know what happens at times that, okay, it just does not convert. Odegaard had chances. Havertz had some very good chances. Some one part though I saw like totally missed his head. And yeah, overall, that's what, like, for me, the negatives were totally in terms of mainly in terms of okay not being clinical enough, and the other part I would say was when we brought on Zinchenko. I saw the defensive issues which every time come up when we sub Kivior off. I just noticed that okay our defensive levels just dropped. We were conceding corners, we giving away fouls. So it's like I've always, like, as an Arsenal fan, I've always had the view that okay Zinchenko is a good, probably a central midfielder or a CDM probably at best, like, but I don't
Yep.
see him as a good defender. He's not a good defender. And when we need to hold on to a 1-0 lead, I mean, I was
Zinchenko's
really
not the man.
shocked. I was really shocked that Zinchenko brought on and Kivior was taken off. Whereas Kivior was solid throughout the game. He made some very clutch, like, clearances and interceptions, made a huge difference. So for me, yeah, man, the negatives will again be all about like okay, not being able to finish. I mean, I have no complaints with the midfield. They're bringing the ball forward. Credits to Porto though. I mean, they marked Saka very well. Like Saka didn't
Uncle
have the
Pepe.
space.
Uncle
Yes,
Pepe.
41 years old, same age as
Yeah.
Arteta, by the way. Same age
Yeah,
as
Extremely
Arteta.
young,
exactly.
yeah.
That's there. So my question to you is, Shubrayu,
Yeah.
do you put this Arsenal's lack of clinical ability down to the fact that y'all are being a little too cute when it comes to that key pass at the final third, or is this something of a mental block or something like that?
I don't think it's a mental block or something, because you see the last few games, if you see, is 5-6 goals. Okay, so of course these players have the like the goals don't just come from one player; they're coming from the team. That is there. I just think what happens is when a team decides to like sort of sit back, that is when we k- decide not being clinical. And the thing is, like, if you see like the previous teams which we faced against whom we scored those 5-6 goals, those teams decided to sit back and they were punished. So I honestly feel like Porto, even the first leg, they were defensively very solid, and even in this second leg, they had a solid defensive plan. So I mean, this is what we saw this time. Even against Brentford, we noticed something very similar, because the tactics by Thomas Frank were also sort of in those lines. And again, one thing I've noticed is, which is very bad, is that okay, when the result is not going our way, it's somewhere around the 60 to 65 minutes. That's when you notice a little bit of panic hits in. The players try to rush in for a goal, like kuch bhi karke somehow bang in a goal. And in that duration, the chances of a mistake and conceding, that increases a lot for us. So that was even evident yesterday. It was even there in the Brentford game. Luckily, yeah, that day Ramsdale pulled off a very good save from Tony. that helped us. And yesterday Raya saved
मतलब
us. So
उस
that is
time
a
पे
risk.
I feel कि you guys are prone to counters, right? A lot of
Yes.
counters. And
Yes.
somewhere I feel कि this season moving on, whatever happens here, Arsenal, in my honest opinion, have a very good midfield, have a very good future-proof defense. But I feel कि आप लोग को कोई ऐसा midfielder चाहिए जो मतलब एकदम if I say it honestly, could be in the age bracket of 25 to 28, and mostly a player like who can create. मतलब एक शायद Italian word है called Trezeka probably, which is like he drops deep and he plays long balls, which is something what
Trekar,
Hakan.
Trekartista,
Huh? No,
Trekartista,
Trekatista actually plays up front. वो कैम के जो नीचे फॉलो करता है वो होता है. एक और है, मैं
Mezzala
forgot the
then.
word. वो बहुत probably मतलब बहुत hard words है भाई. तो
Regista, I guess. Regista.
हाँ शायद वही होगा.
Regista is the Pirlo role. What
Okay.
what Chouameni is doing for Madrid currently at the base of the diamond.
मतलब
Yeah.
That's what
basically
Regista is.
what I basically mean is the Hakan Calhanoglu role basically in a way.
That's a
एक
DLP.
CDM, but he is really good on the ball as well. मैं ये
Creatively,
इसीलिए बोल
like
रहा
he's
बिकॉज
yeah.
राइस तो वो काम करता ही है. बट अगर वहां पे आप एक डबल पिवट लाते हो ना, गेब्रियल और पीछे सलीबा के लिए इजी होता है. सी द मेन रीजन लिवरपूल आर कंसीडरिंग सो मेनी गोल्स लास्ट सीजन वाज बिकॉज वो सिंगल पिवट काम नहीं कर रहा था. एंड में वी हैड
Exactly.
टू मूव टू अ डबल पिवट जो एट द टाइम ऑफ डिफेंडिंग वेंट इनटू अ लाइक in time of attacking it was basically a 2-2. When we were defending it became a back four while our fullbacks were still up front. जब वो होता है ना,
Exactly.
it helps Arsenal to defend and be more compact. So I think
Agreed.
moving on to the next season, Arsenal, if they could, just put out that thing and see, एक चीज क्या होता है, what Klopp did, कि at some positions you need experienced players. You cannot just rely on kids, and you guys are
True.
wonderful kids, probably the best in the country. So to have a few more good players in this position and a backup right winger, I won't say bring in a world class, phenomenal prospect next Ronaldo kind of guy, but somebody who can make basic passes and like have some impact. And I would honestly say
Agreed.
this: if Mudrik was in Arsenal right now and a backup to Saka, he would have done much better. Because जब वो आता है ना,
Yep.
he can
True.
cause what we call in Liverpool language chaos.
Yep.
And वो सिर्फ रॉ पेस ही बहुत हद तक काम में मतलब बहुत काम करता है. एंड इफ Jesus plays a false nine, this could have worked out brilliantly. But वो अभी नहीं है तो वो अलग बात है. Moving on as we end on the Premier League topic, Man City versus Liverpool. एंड मेरे पास शो करने के लिए बहुत सारे मीम्स है, बट मैं दे नहीं सकता. एंड मेरा बहुत मन था भाई एक बायस्ड रिव्यू देने का, बट फिर अनुकर्ष भाई ने मना कर दिया, इसीलिए दे नहीं पाया. बट हाँ, सो व्हाट आर योर थॉट्स ऑन दैट?
I mean,
Box office
perfect
Well,
result for me.
game, man. Box office game, man.
perfect
Yeah,
perfect result for me
obviously,
also as a
obviously.
neutral, because I'll just make my allegiances very clear. I want Arsenal to win the league. It's sad coming from a United fan. Let me just be very careful. I'm saying this with a very heavy heart, but I'd rather have Arsenal win the league than City or Liverpool, with all the honesty. With all the honesty, this was the same. It was the same last year also, but somehow, no offense, but you'll shat the bed with that one. Please don't please don't this
Yep.
season. Just don't, because
Well,
a lot is
coming on to you, Delvin.
riding. A
Yeah.
lot is riding on you. Yeah, go on.
I know.
Coming on to you, Delvin. I would ask you a question. Like, would you sack Ten Hag next season, coming on to the
No,
next season, or would you
no,
like to keep him?
no. Yes, I'll keep him. I'll keep him because
Like,
I think
I've seen his man management.
you have great experience about players getting decimated by injuries. I mean, you, as a Madrid fan, you'll know a lot about it.
Yes.
भाई also
There was a
many
time. There was a time where y'all had what 60 or 70 injury related absences in one season, which is borderline vulgar. That many injury absences. Okay, so this is a similar situation that is going through. Now I understand injuries happen to everyone and that's part and parcel of the game. But if 8 of your players who walk into the starting 11, 5 of which are absolutely indispensable to Ten Hag's style of play, I don't think any manager will be able to,
What is
get
your style of play? If I ask you very
what.
honestly.
what Ten Hag's trying to do is he's trying to make United a transitional side in the sense where United are able to attack directly. The perfect example of that attack is that Rashford goal against Arsenal at the Emirates. That is Ten Hag's philosophy at its best. But on a defensive side, he's trying to make sure that we win the ball high up, play a higher line. So his player profile is basically that players like Mount. Then he's bought in Garnacho and he's bought in Hoyland with the focal point who's able to hold on. So he's able to get those players. But injuries, I mean, there are certain issues from the managerial point of view as well. But I would not sack Ten Hag. I've always been very vocal about the fact that whether it's Ten Hag, whether it's any manager that United have had in the past 11 years, you provide a manager with a competent football structure, and you will definitely get results.
Definitely.
Arteta's reaping the benefits of that. Klopp definitely reaped the benefits of that from a Premier League standpoint. So with Ineos coming in, with with some semblance of a footballing structure being put at this very point of time, I am very very optimistic about the season coming in. But I want Ten Hag to stay because there is a lot of talk about United conceding a lot of shots, with only Sheffield United conceding more shots than us. But if you go a little bit through the numbers, United concede out of the shots that United concede, most of them are just pot shots. Most of them are speculative shots. The best example is the Liverpool United game at Anfield. Liverpool had 38 shots. They had one or two on target, and some barely troubled Onana throughout the course of that game. So those are the types of shots that United are facing throughout the course of this season. Now the problem is that we are not able to complete our chances from an attacking standpoint, which is why we are where we are. So that is the problem there. So with that being said, I'll keep Ten Hag. Of course, Ineos will have its own decisions to make, but if you ask me, I'm all in
Yeah.
with the manager. I'll stand
But
by the manager for sure.
Delvin, don't you think he has some serious man management issues with all the things that is
Why?
going on the in the club?
Give me an example.
Like you can see Jadon Sancho, then Amad Diallo. He recently deleted all his posts regarding Man
He
United.
did, yeah, he did say that he was doing
Yeah,
it because it's Ramzan. So
Jadon
and
Sancho, I
then
don't think like it's a Ten Hag
yeah,
issue. It's a Sancho issue.
what's
Like he was he
why is
like
Ten Hag wrong there?
Sancho is more of a player issue,
Sancho
Uh,
not
is a
a
Sancho
Ten
issue.
Hag
Like
issue.
that
so
happened anyway.
I'll give you gave me the Sancho situation, and I'll give you the Gareth Bale situation with what Zidane did. Did you side with the player or did you side with the manager there?
no, I would always side with the manager. But the thing is,
So
this is
obviously,
not the first time.
Arey,
He
but
had been having, yeah, he had been.
but just sorry to interrupt, but like let's not take it in an offensive manner. But
no, it's not
Zidane भाई
offensive. Like,
Zidane है, उसको कंपेयर करना यहाँ पे फालतू है. It's like
no,
comparing
it's
Ronaldo
a
with
situation.
मतलब
It's a
हाँ,
managerial situation, right? Where the manager has ostracized a player out of playing.
even
It's the similar situation where Ten Hag has put Sancho out of the fray when it comes to playing games. I've
even if
just
you
given a
guys
like for like situation, and I've just
if
asked
you,
him whether he sided the manager or sided the player. So obviously, in this case, I will side the manager as well. We've seen Arteta come out and say certain
Aubameyang.
players are not giving their best when it comes to training. Pep has gone and openly said certain players are not 100% when it
Yeah,
comes to training. I have not seen them go out and put stories or statements out on social media saying that we are being scapegoated. If anything, they have come out as better players. Why couldn't Sancho do that? Why isn't Sancho doing that? He's not
but
even
ha-
for
that's the
even
he's
issue
not
with
having
even
the
Man
even
best.
United
like
management. That's the
He's
issue
even
now
even
with
like
Man U management.
so here's
Like
the thing,
they,
Bhaskar. Here's the thing,
yeah,
Bhaskar. You cannot tell that Eric Ten Hag has problems with man management because this is the same manager that gave Sancho 3 months off to get his mental bearings right, to get himself into peak shape. He sent him to the
no.
Netherlands
What I
with a
mean to
group of
say
personal
is,
coaches
see,
to
what I
make sure
mean to
that
say is, don't you think that this has been a history in Man U management? Whenever there is a fallout between the player and the coach,
this is a club problem. Absolutely club. This is
the
a club
management
problem.
always
Yes,
sacks the, yeah, always sacks
yes,
the
it is.
manager.
You ask any United fan Bhaskar at this point in time, it is obviously going to, you'll obviously get the same answer. But the minute that the manager is being supported in the past two instances, the two mega fallouts that have happened, the Ronaldo saga and the Sancho
Yeah,
saga, the two times where the manager has been backed on either side, why is it that the manager is being given a lot of criticism? Let's take Sancho's case, for example. We all thought that with Sancho being sent to Dortmund, there was going to be an improvement in his performances. Have we seen any tangible improvement? No. And we'll get to see more when he plays PSV tonight. But
yeah,
I'm not very optimistic that he's going to have a good performance. That is what it is. So it is not a manager problem in this case, it's just a player problem. Because if you're not able to perform well even after a change of surrounding that you were expected to, there's something to do with you, obviously.
True. And just for an example, if you guys remember, Delvin bhai, Shubhra bhai, you guys might remember this. 14-15 when Klopp first arrived, तो Benteke actually were new players. So he gave them time कि आप चलो get your shit together. नहीं हुआ, they were sold. So उस time it was very clear cut कि either you are my side or you are their side. And Henderson, who was a player not really of Klopp's type, he's still in the club. He worked hard. Time and time again, he was doing shifts and he ultimately became a much better player. Even
Exactly.
like, see, Henderson is a player who's of Fred's quality, very honestly. And of a player of Fred's quality, being in the same league as somebody as KDB to even win the PFA Player of the Year, that just goes amount to मतलब वो दिखाता है कि एक अच्छा मैनेजर कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है क्लब के लिए, not
True.
only as a team but as an individual performing as well. Just on to that topic, Endo pocketed the entire midfield. And मैं मजाक से हटके बोल रहा, मेरे पास clips है actually where he was dominant over KDB and Rodri. एंड हमारा सस्ता कोलंबियन तो शायद सेकंड हाफ के बाद कोकेन फूक के आया था, वो
My
थोड़ी बहुत उसने
God,
ड्रिबलिंग की है,
the dude was
थोड़ी बहुत
running.
dribbling उसने.
My guy was sprinting at the 86th minute. There is no way that guy has not snorted two lines of coke at halftime in the dressing room.
Yep.
He was
Definitely.
sprinting.
भाई
He was.
man.
डेल्विन भाई डेल्विन भाई वॉकर इज द फास्टेस्ट राइट बैक, रॉड्री इज द
Bruce,
बेस्ट सीडीएम, उसको कुत्ते
Bruce,
जैसे था.
Bruce sold Walker down the river. Come on, you're telling me that that's not cocaine? Come on,
Yeah,
भाई
that's
भाई इस बंदे से ना
he smoked Walker,
वो
man. He smoked
ब्राइट,
Walker.
भाई इस बंदे से लैम्पटे है ना लैम्पटे, उसको डिफेंडिंग नहीं आती, इस बंदे से लैम्पटे ड्रिबल पास नहीं होता, इसने आधा
God.
सिटी का डिफेंस ड्रिबल पास कर दिया, वो भी
And
नशे
it's
में
it's
भाई.
and it's a coincidence or not that the one day that his father is at Anfield is the moment he decides to show up. You're not you definitely are not telling me that his father did not bring some of that magic stuff with him. Come on.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
भाई मैं कसम से बोल रहा, उसने उसे भाई उसके पहले भी उसने ऐसे चांसेस मिस किए ना कि हम लोग मतलब तकरीबन थे कि अभी
That game
माँ
should
बाप
have been
आएंगे.
buried. That game should have been buried in the first half.
Easily,
Luis
easily.
Diaz, Darwin Nunez have missed tons of chances, and they
नहीं
had
बट
to.
True.
डिया नूनियस का जो चांस उसने मिस किया, नॉट मिस्टेकन, अगर आप बोल रहे हो कि वो रॉबर्टसन वाला क्रॉस,
The
वो तो
header.
सम एक्सटेंट उसके पास नहीं नहीं वो हेडर उसका नहीं था, दैट वाज
No,
अ सोबो
there
हेडर,
was a header. There was a header of Nunez
सोबो
also in the
हेडर
first half. In the first half,
फर्स्ट हाफ में,
first half it was Nunez. Yes,
Yeah.
द
where he
वन क्रॉस
absolutely
फ्रॉम
had,
एलियट राइट,
from the left hand side. From the
लेफ्ट हैंड
left
से कौन
hand
सा
side.
मिस किया.
Yeah. You all were
It
playing
was
from left
Soboslai.
to
It was
right.
Soboslai's header. It was
हाँ
Soboslai's
दैट वाज
header
सोबो,
when Elliot gave a cross. It was Soboslai's
There
header.
was
हाँ
no.
वो पूरा
I
देखो उसने मिस
clearly
कर दिया होता.
no. I clearly remember that there was a Nunez header also. So
हो सकता है, बट इन कॉन्ट्रास्ट डियाज हैड बेटर चांसेस, मच बेटर चांसेस,
Yes,
वो तो
better.
yes,
उसके पास
True.
क्लियर
Diaz,
चांसेस.
He didn't finish his
Diaz
chances, man.
had
He didn't finish
golden
his chances.
chances.
भाई
Diaz had
वही,
golden
एंड
chances.
एंड जितना आई रेस्पेक्ट एडरसन, मुझे पता है कि वो मिस करता, मुझे पता है वो मिस करता. एंड ऑल्सो इन अ कॉन्ट्रेरी, इफ यू गाइज हैव बीन फॉलोइंग क्लॉक्स फुटबॉल, मैकैलिस्टर इज समवॉट टर्निंग अप टू बी अ लॉट लाइक वाइनाल्डम, जो उसके पास जो एथिक ना वर्क एथिक वो समवॉट दिख रहा है. And this is what Klopp has been trying to do from the start of the season. Of course, it takes time to get into the system, but it has been working out. But honestly, मैं ये चीज legit बोल रहा, when you see Endo, ठीक है, when you see him make the passes, you never feel कि वो बंदा उतना confident है. But उस दिन उसने जैसा गेम दिखाया ना, मतलब
Yup.
see एक चीज है कि KDB does not look like it, but he is terrifically strong. He can easily like push down players. एंड वो बंदा उसके अगेंस्ट ऐसे खेल रहा है, इवन से कुछ पासेस थे, पिन पॉइंट एक्यूरेसी से वो बंदा पास कर रहा है. सो ट्रिमेंडस
Exactly.
फॉर मी, इट वाज लाइक फिनोमिनल. एंड इवन एक्चुअली ये बात भी है डेल्विन भाई, फोर्डन को लेके हम लोग इतना हाइप करते हैं, राइट? और एक
Please,
जगह
please
पे
don't talk to me about Foden. I swear to God, I'll commit war crimes. That dude managed to score difficult chances against us in the derby, and draws an absolute blank against y'all. Like
Yeah.
seriously, there were so many chances where he could have scored. Oh, good lord, man!
डेल्विन
Seriously,
भाई, आर यू एन इंग्लैंड फैन?
yes,
तो
yes.
डेल्विन भाई, कॉन्ट्ररी टू दिस सीजन, हमारे पास कुछ बहुत ही चूतिए लेवल के प्लेयर्स होते हैं जो हम लोग हर सीजन भेजते हैं, ट्रेंड के अलावा. आई डोंट थिंक यू कंसिडर हेंडरसन टू बी अ प्रॉपर नंबर 8 फॉर इंग्लैंड. इफ यू
Fuck
डू,
no, dude.
इफ यू
Are you
डू देन भाई
serious?
लेट्स ग्रैब अ ड्रिंक, दोनों को
No,
रोना
I'm
है.
sorry.
बट
No, sorry. I've
बट उसके
always
अलावा
been.
Anderson.
दिस सीजन जो गोमेज, कर्टिस जोन्स एंड ट्रेंट एज वेल सम एक्सटेंट, मैं ट्रेंट के अलावा बोलूंगा ये दो, these two have been a very integral part of Liverpool in the front 11, because देखो हमारा
I don't
LCM was
I don't
supposed to
see
support
I
it,
don't see both making the England squad. I don't see either
but
Curtis
at
Jones
least
and
but
who's the other guy? Joe Gomez. No, I'm not. I
but
don't
at
see
least
them making
not
the
on the
squad.
bench.
No. The see, here's the thing. England's defense more or less picks itself. A fit Shaw automatically starts at left back. Trippier makes the right his own. You have Ben White who can play centre back, left back, right back, wherever you want him to. He's multifaceted in that regard. You have Trent. Definitely Trent's going in. Trent's either playing right back or Trent could potentially slot into that hybrid role. And then you have your centre backs. You have Harry Maguire,
Maguire.
who great respect to him, has had a great season for United this year. Let's just be honest. I mean, he's had a very good season, and being Southgate's favorite helps. So Maguire is there. You have John Stones, obviously.
Hmm.
Then you have Kyle Walker who plays centre back. So that defense more or less picks it
Absolutely.
up. Then you have Fikayo Tomori, obviously. So there are many players to consider before someone like a Joe Gomez is in contention. And same goes to the midfield. Who are you going to replace Curtis Jones with? Like, that's the
मतलब
problem.
see, right now if you consider Declan Rice, you consider, और कौन कौन है?
Declan
Jude
Jude.
Bellingham. Jude
Declan
Bellingham.
Jude, हाँ, constantly starting दो हो गए. Third, let me just put here Trent for example. Trent तीन हो गए. Now let's go back to two CMs. दो CM आपके हिसाब से, one could be Ward-Prowse, but he won't be
Mason
selected.
Mount.
Mason
Mason Mount.
Mount,
He's a Southgate's favorite. Yeah, he's Southgate's
Mason
favorite.
Mount,
And then
Gallagher.
there's Calvin Phillips.
But don't you think Calvin Phillips से and Mason Mount से better अभी Curtis Jones खेल रहा है? मतलब
Mason Mount
Calvin
doesn't
Phillips ने
play.
वेस्ट हैम के लिए स्टार्ट ही नहीं
Mason
किया.
प्रॉब्लम यही है ना, मेसन माउंट सेंटर मिड नहीं खेलता है. मेसन माउंट साउथगेट के लिए विंग्स पे खेलता है.
अच्छा, लेफ्ट में खेलता है. बट कैल्विन
हाँ.
फिलिप्स से कर्टिस जोन्स बेटर नहीं है. एंड सी, आई एम नॉट सेइंग एज अ मतलब एज अ बायस, बट जेन्युइनली उसने अच्छा खेला ये सीजन. आप एज अ
He's
मतलब
played, no,
और
he's
एलएम में
played.
खेला है.
He's played well, no doubt. No two ways about it. I'm not disagreeing to that. I'm just saying that there are certain players that Southgate considers as favorite. We call it favorites. According to him, they are integral parts of his side. And Calvin Phillips, and to an extent, Jordan Henderson also comes under it. I have been a massive advocate of Southgate not being England manager ever since we lost the Euro final. I've been a massive advocate of Jordan Henderson not being in the side. I've been a massive advocate of not having Mason Mount a lot in the side as well. But these things are not happening. So that's a problem. You have Loftus Cheek. Loftus Cheek might make him.
हाँ, एग्जैक्टली, रूबन ऑफ्टस
Last
चीज. You have Ross Barkley as well. बहुत अच्छा खेल रही है
No,
सीजन.
no. It's a little too late for him. a little too late for him. No.
I think Cole
Phil
Palmer
Ward
Neville,
is going to make
Prowse,
it, bro. Cole
Cole
Palmer, I
Palmer's
see
there.
making it.
Cole
Yeah,
Palmer
Cole
can make
Palmer's
it.
there.
Hmm.
Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer.
He'll
See,
make it.
here's the
भाई
thing.
वो
There
after
is there
aftermath
is
of the
there is
Carabao
so
Cup was
much
too fun.
there is
मुझे
so
याद है
much
बाबू लेके.
quality. There is so much quality in this England side. Like, forget that golden generation. This is the golden generation. It'll be an absolute
And
shame that this side doesn't win something concrete in the next 3-4 years. Like,
and
genuinely speaking,
do you know what's funny, Delvin bhai? Harry Kane is the best English striker as of now in the team. You have him.
he's going to
उसके
be the best
backups में
English striker for a generation. For a generation.
उसके बैकअप में these guys, you have Ole Watkins, you have Ivan Toney, in their own respect, if
Callum
you bring
Wilson.
them on, or
Callum
Callum
has
Wilson
Wilson.
as
Callum
well.
Wilson as well, exactly, Callum Wilson.
Callum
So let's say I put Harry Kane out of a team, for example. I put any of these three in a team, and that team is still a very strong team. Even if I
That
keep
team's
Harry Kane out of the Euros,
still an elite team. Not strong.
exactly,
It's
Still a
still an
world class
elite
team.
team.
Yep, yep, yep.
exactly. And these strikers, they possess an individual capability to change a game completely.
Absolutely.
Watkins can
Without
pass
a
as well.
doubt.
Wilson
Yes.
has the
Hold
Jota
up.
scheme.
The
Plus,
hold
you have
up.
Ivan Toney. He can do particularly everything. So
Yep.
you have a very good team. And see, I'm a French and a Dutch supporter, but I would still want England to do something because वो deserve करते हैं. जो team उनके पास है, जैसा वो खेलते हैं.
Nah,
Plus,
we don't. Let me be very clear. We don't deserve anything until we just go ahead on the pitch and prove it. The
true,
last
true, true.
the
Well
last
said.
three major tournaments we've done well, but
Hmm.
while 2018 was considered to be of a team where it was like all Southgate magic. That was the one tournament where Southgate got a lot of credit in the bank. The 2021 Euro Finals, we should have won it. We
Yep.
should have. We had to put Italy out of the game in the first 20 minutes. We did not. I would give the benefit of doubt to France in the game, but I will go out on a limb and say England were the better team in the course of 90 minutes. You've never seen that France team taken to the extremes until the final.
Yeah.
No. England matched them man for man. England had the better game, but it all came down to France winning those key moments, and that's why they went to the finals all the way. In a game where you manage to keep Mbappe quiet, 9 out of 10 times you end up winning those games. We did not. We were that 1 out of 10 that we lost the game. So it comes down to that. I think there are a lot of changes that need to be made starting from the manager. I want Southgate to go, and I hope that this be his last tournament as England manager, whether we win or whether we lose. Because I don't think this Southgate saga can go on long forever, because a lot of English players will suffer, and for sure the entire English football team will suffer.
True.
Who do you
And I
see
think
like
there's a
coming
point,
after Southgate?
Shubhray
Maybe.
bhai and I also agree that Southgate should be the next Manu manager. Shubhray bhai, क्या बोलते हो? Southgate is like Southgate on the
You know,
wheel.
I hear me out here. Southgate and Ole have very similar qualities. I, for one, wouldn't like. I don't want him as manager, of course, but you've since you'll have put it out, he wouldn't look out of place as a Man United manager only because of the fact that he knows how to manage player egos.
True.
Because that
True.
England side has a lot of player egos. Let's just be honest about it. So if he's able to manage
Every
that,
English side has a lot of player egos. Every
yeah.
English
But
side throughout the history.
this team is genuinely likable though. Like, they like each other.
Yeah.
They
No, of
enjoy
course,
each
of
other's
course.
company.
Yeah.
Talk about that previous generation. They hated the sight of each other. They just played
Yeah.
as a matter of convenience.
they
So
they were मतलब ये चीज भी see like I would like actually go out and say something here. जो पहले के जो players थे, that had a very golden generation of Manu players, right? So आप Manu के इतने stars लाते हो, इतने legends जो अभी
really,
modern day.
United legends in the England side, then no. Every team had a
Paul
legendary
Scholes,
player out there. No, Paul
मतलब मैं
Scholes barely
generally
played.
बोल
Paul Scholes barely played for England. No, Paul
Beckham,
Scholes barely played. Beckham, yes. You had John Terry,
Neville,
Ashley Cole.
You are Rooney.
Yeah, you had.
Neville,
Of
Rooney.
course, they were United players, but you
Yeah.
had John
Yeah.
Terry, you had Ashley Cole, you had Frank Lampard, three Chelsea players. You had Steven Gerrard, you had Peter Crouch, you had Cara. That's three Liverpool
भाई
players.
we had Michael Owen, उसका नाम तो बोल दो. Like
No,
Peter
I'm
Crouch
talking
makes
about.
it, Owen does not.
No. I'm talking about the golden generation from
हाँ हाँ.
2003 to
अच्छा
2006,
पार्थिव
2010.
Yeah.
पार्थिव
True, true.
I'll have to
हाँ.
take a leave now. Yeah, I'll have to take a leave
Okay
now.
man.
I'll catch up with you later.
Thank you for
Okay?
coming.
Cool, yeah.
और भी आना, बहुत मजा
Sure.
आएगा.
Sure.
Cheers, Oscar. Bye. Cheers.
See you, bro.
अगर पीटर क्राउच ये देखेगा ना, वो भी पोस्ट करेगा. That somebody has put me in the golden generation. I'm proud of that. And
I
he's
mean, he
such a good
was.
guy. Genuinely,
Yeah, he was.
I love his character. Genuinely.
Yep.
So they hated the sight of each other. It was obviously Premier League rivals over country at that point. So, but this lot is different. So that's why.
The managers also were
And
very
यहाँ पे
different.
कुछ
No? In the
crazy है.
Premier League back then, you had Jose Mourinho, you had Wenger.
हाँ, बहुत एक
Sir
So
intense था. मैं
Alex.
it was
बट
too
हाँ,
intense, and
मतलब
these
तो
guys
भाई
made them
अभी
like
भी
okay, like
इंटेंस है, बट थोड़ा फ्रेंडली है. फ्रेंडली
it's
इंटेंस है, अभी भी इंटेंस है.
right. Of course, it is intense. But the thing is, like, how would I say, like, the way Wenger looked at Mourinho, that way I don't see like Pep looks at Arteta or Klopp looks at Arteta or Klopp looks at Pep. Like, the way that was that Wenger Mourinho
Pure
or Wenger
hatred.
Ferguson. Yeah, that was like too nasty. Like, that those rivalries were so nasty. Like, the managers had made them like okay, us against them. It was throughout with these clubs. So that was instilled into these England players so much now that they couldn't get out of it when they played for the country.
Yeah, they weren't able. And this England
Funnily
team is
enough, the
different in that
the
regard.
other ones did well. उसी टीम के other players did actually well. If you consider, मतलब same team में आपके पास और भी countries के legends थे, they actually did well. But शायद somewhere England lacked it. Honestly, I would say England शायद
They
मतलब वो
still
हुआ
do.
नहीं कभी.
They still do.
Exactly. We
They
still
still
do.
do. We still lack. I mean, what is the point of playing so well if you can't win something, if you don't have anything tangible to show for?
Exactly.
India
Italy
2023 World Cup.
exactly. But there was no point to bring that up. But yeah, sure.
मतलब अंदर से
Italy,
अंदर से एक
Italy,
आवाज आई.
Italy for all their horrible football for the recent years, they still have something tangible to show. They won the Euros.
Euros, yeah.
So at the end of the day,
So
it's
where do
it's
you
the
guys
trophy that
feel
matters.
where do you guys feel that Italy will do in this Euros? According to you guys, genuinely.
No, they are rank outsiders. This tournament, they won't be counted as favorites for sure. Like
Who are your favorites? मतलब just give me three favorites.
I'll give two.
So
I'll give England and France. I don't see anyone else that far off.
if you ask me for three, I would give it to Spain, England, and France. Of course, these three.
If you ask me, I would say the same. मतलब जो दिल मैंने बोला England, France. I would put just one team here, Netherlands, because of the form of Ake and Van Dijk. Because last season when the Nations League came up, these two carried. Van Dijk का last season drop हुआ, एक mental level में एक बहुत बड़ा drop था, and I could see the team falling apart. But हाँ
They need
एक
to
चीज है,
score. They need to
Yeah.
score.
हाँ but
Where
नहीं
do
भाई
the
वही
goals come from?
उनके हेल्प में रोनाल्ड कोमन है, ठीक है, एंड दैट गाय इज सो स्मार्ट. भाई इतना शातिर दिमाग है ना, 90 मिनट में बोल दिया बैठने को सामने खेल, तू गोल मार. भाई उल्टा 2 गोल खा गए.
So smart that he got embarrassed at Barca. But yeah, okay. Let's.
भाई आप एक चीज बोलो डेलविन भाई, ये चीज मैं गलती कभी नहीं करता, इससे जूते पड़ते हैं. आपके बेस्ट डिफेंडर को जो है वर्ल्ड टॉप का डिफेंडर, उसको आप बोल रहे हो तो सामने खेल. आपके पास सामने बाउट वेगहॉर्स्ट भी है, वो भी हग रहा है, वो अलग बात है. तो आपके पास दोनों लंबे लंबे खंबे हैं, दोनों को आपने भेज दिया. एक आपका डिफेंडर है और डिफेंस लाइन पूरा खाली है. क्रोएशिया कूद कूद के गोल मार दी, दो कूद कूद.
So I mean, Netherlands
why-
decent team, but will you
एक
count them
Noah
as favorites? I'm not really sure.
That's when Delvin's point comes in. Who'll score? Like, you got
Yeah.
Wog Weghorst, you got Van Dijk. Okay, Wog
हाँ,
Weghorst is
नहीं
not
मैं
the
वही बोल रहा,
we all
अगर
know.
आप वेगहॉर्स्ट को बाहर रखते हो ना, गैक्पो, लैंग, these guys are not bad. मैं ये बोलूंगा not
Daniel
bad,
Malen.
but then again,
Daniel Malen.
Yeah,
हाँ,
Malen.
mine as well. But for me, like I love to get into football analysis and the tactics and everything. But कोमन के तक मुझे समझ नहीं आता, honestly. वो एक्चुअली करना क्या चाह रहा है मुझे समझ नहीं आता. कभी आई सी हिम प्रेसिंग, कभी आई सी हिम प्लेइंग अ बैक, कभी आई सी हिम प्लेइंग अ बैक 5, कभी आई सी हिम प्लेइंग अ फ्रंट 2. तो बहुत ही मिक्स्ड अप है, एंड समहाउ आई फील कि ये प्लेयर्स पे भी बहुत ज्यादा इफेक्ट करता है.
There is one Dutch player who I would
So
keep my eyes on a lot in this tournament, and that's Zirkzee, Josh Zirkzee.
Joshua
Yeah,
Zirkzee.
he's currently
yeah,
tearing it
Joshua
up in
Zirkzee,
Bologna.
awesome.
He's currently injured though, but he was having a great season up until now. So
Actually,
Bayern also have a
the
buyback on him.
Bologna, mein, there's also a guy called Riccardo Orsolini. He's playing right wing, and
Yes,
he's having a
Orsolini.
mind-blowing season this season. Perfect season
Yeah,
he's having. Like, to have 13
Yeah.
goals, he's having a similar impact to what Berardi did back in the Euro season.
for
He
Sassuolo.
was in a good form, from Sassuolo as well. So actually, they are in number four. Bologna number four pair. They are relegation number three. So Shubhra, you have any questions or any point you want to bring up?
Not really, bro. Like at least not related to the Euros much because like again as you said, right now there's not we don't really know because they haven't announced the squads. Once they
Hmm.
announce the squads, we'll have more to talk about it. Right now, a lot of speculations. Like about England, my only thought is will Ben White even be included in the squad? Like after having
He
such a good
will.
season.
He will, but I'm not sure he's going to play. That's the problem. That's the
That's
issue.
that's that's the issue because
That's
he's
the
one of
issue.
the best defenders out there, and that's what I see with England. That as Delvin said very well,
Even
Southgate's
I love
favorites.
Ben White.
Yeah,
Love Ben.
Southgate's favorites get the priority. So if you're not a Southgate favorite,
मतलब
then
डेल्विन भाई आई फाइंड दिस वेरी अम्यूजिंग कि आप जब इंग्लिश राइट बैक्स की बात करते हो यू हैव काइल वॉकर यू हैव ट्रिपियर ट्रेंट रीस जेम्स बट बेन वाइट ना उस लिस्ट में भी इंक्लूड नहीं होता जस्ट बिकॉज ही एक्चुअली डज हिज जॉब वो अपना
Because he's
काम करता है जो है
versatile.
मतलब प्रॉपर
For
डिफेंडिंग
once, for once, being versatile has its problems when it comes to Ben White here, because you, if you consider him as a right back, how are you going to play him above Kieran Trippier? How are you going to play him above Trent? How are you going to play him above Reece James? That's the question. Provided Reece James stays fit for more than 2 business days, that's another question in its own right. But how do you fit him above these three? He plays at left back. How you're going to fit him above Luke Shaw? How are you going to fit him above Ben Chilwell? That's the issue. And if you want to play him at centre back, then obviously you have John Stones, you have Kyle Walker, you have Harry Maguire. Where are you going to play him? All the three positions that he's proficient at, and he does great jobs at all three of them. You have players who are slightly better than him or are Southgate's favourites in those positions.
exactly.
How do you stand out? How do you get into Southgate's eyes? That is the question. So
That's
in that regard, this is one instance where Ben White's versatility will go against him.
agreed. Agreed.
बट आई लव हिम ऑनेस्टली मैं एज अ लिवरपूल फैन
He's
बोल रहा
great.
आई हैव अ लॉट
He's
ऑफ
great. No two ways about it. He's
genuinely good
great.
players.
Ever
Very good
since he
player.
played for Leeds, ever since he's played for Leeds on loan, he's been great. Like he is a very good defender. He has insane awareness for a guy who doesn't really love football outside of playing for
Yeah.
those 90 minutes. So
Exactly.
make of that what you will. But there are a lot of
Why takes his
questions.
job seriously? He takes his job
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Takes his
yeah,
job
exactly.
seriously.
He
Yes.
takes his job
And
seriously.
add to it that he's an absolute shithouse also, so I enjoy that part of his game as
Oh
well.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yes.
You love those characters, man. You
What
got
he
to love
does
shithouses.
as set pieces, what he does with the keeper, like bothering the
Yeah.
keeper and all that. Oh, really
Riling up
good
the
भाई
stuff.
crowd.
Yeah,
Riling up
yeah.
the
like
crowd.
you
That's cinema.
एक instance पे अच्छा we forgot about Madison as well. He can be also on the team. आप एक funny instance है ठीक है. Curtis Jones always has been in and out of the team लिवरपूल में ठीक है but never a starter. So this सीजन के शुरू में या इसके पहले लास्ट सीजन में इधर का इंटरव्यू जहाँ पे वो बोला कि people asked him कि why do you think people are angry at you or people hate you? He came out and said because I think I'm too good. उसका वो 3 दिन बहुत मजाक उड़ा उसके बाद से आज तक किसी की नौबत नहीं हुई जो उसको कुछ बोल दे उसके बाद से जैसा उसने गेम लगाया ना सो देयर आर सम प्लेयर्स आई मतलब ये उनमें होता है दैट if they speak they can match it as well and you need such characters जैसे लिवरपूल में there's Robertson he'd go on to every single keeper and he'd like shit on them. England, you also have Pickford doing the same at times. So these are good characters and they're needed. You cannot play a gentleman's game here. You
Of
cannot.
course, of
Such a
course.
mental game, you need the that extra element here. वैसे
You need,
Shubhrayu bhai, I'll
yes,
ask a
yes.
question directly to you and then Delmai का जो Delmai on है. But
Hmm.
you
हाँ.
cannot be diplomatic here. यहाँ
हाँ,
पे वो
okay.
सब जिंक्स विंक्स नहीं चलेगा. मैं भी नहीं करूंगा. ऑनेस्टली बताओ, 3 हॉर्स रेस है. सिटी
Mm-hmm.
अभी भी फेवरेट्स है, तो उनके पास वो कटिंग एज है.
Yep.
नेक्स्ट 10 गेम्स, वेयर डू यू
Yep.
फील आर्सेनल, लिवरपूल एंड सिटी, प्रॉब्लम्स किधर होगी, अच्छा किधर
Okay.
है, एंड क्या होने वाला है?
Okay. So for Arsenal, I'll start. So for me, of course, the first hurdle for us is Etihad, which is coming on 31st March. Biggest challenge. If we get past that, well and good. Post that, we have a trip to Old Trafford on match week 37. So yeah, that is going to be a tricky trip there because no matter what, like Old Trafford, like I mean, we lost there last season. Anthony scored, and then uske pehle also like we won there once or twice, but I mean not so much. Like once
Once,
maybe we
once
yeah 1-0, 1-0 or
the
something
Aubameyang
like we
penalty.
exactly. So like we Old Trafford I see as a tricky fixture. A lot of people are saying Tottenham is going to be a tricky fixture, but I mean if we are in the zone the way we are playing, I don't like it's like
टॉटनहम
the
इज होम
way
और अवे?
Tottenham are away, but then it's in North London only, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, like Tottenham, I'm not really seeing because the way they play, like they play a nice, aggressive, attacking football, and that's where we score goals against those teams. So Tottenham, I'm not really worried about. United is what I'm looking. Like I think it's going to be a difficult fixture, and then we have a trip
And
to
we
Brighton as well.
play we play Liverpool also at Old Trafford. So both of them have to play us at Old Trafford.
Oh
So
yes,
whoever, yeah. So I think whether people like it or whether they don't, it's up to us. And it's not looking good for us either.
no, for Liverpool also, I'll say the same thing. There's a trip to Old Trafford. You guys have a trip
Chelsea?
to
No, they only
Aston
finished
Villa.
Chelsea. They've done Chelsea. Yeah.
Yeah. So you
I,
have a trip to Aston Villa. Like, that's going to be Villa Park trip. And given that Aston Villa are actually looking at fourth, so I think they will be try harding at that point, and you might face issues there at Villa Park. And for City again, like post
City have
Arsenal,
Chelsea, no? Or City
No,
have are done with Chelsea.
City are done
City
with
has
Chelsea, Liverpool,
टॉटनहम लेफ्ट.
Tottenham and
Yeah,
Arsenal.
City has. Yeah,
Tottenham,
okay.
Arsenal, two like fixtures you could say like where they could be challenged, and Tottenham is away from them, and they've had a very bad record away against Tottenham.
Yeah.
So these are like the places where you can see like okay the probability of having a drop is high, but there could be these other games also, these random games where you go
But
play away.
Shubhravi bhai, I'll go on to say this. If by any chance you guys can win at the Etihad, if
Mhm.
you do, I see you winning the league. I
We
mean,
should
see, I
ideally
talk a lot about the
ideally
mentality factor. If you win there, it's such a big mental boost. You can carry on the momentum easily,
exactly,
regardless of what happens in the Champions League. See,
of
एक
course.
चीज बोलता हूँ, if you guys let's say face Barcelona, ठीक है, in the quarters or something like that, and you defeat them, तब भी एक बहुत बड़ा मेंटल बूस्ट आता है कि इतने बड़े क्लब को हरा दिया, लीग में क्या ही होगा. ये चीज बहुत
Exactly.
होती भी है. इवन आई टेल यू दिस, 18-19 when the season when Liverpool defeated Barcelona, we defeated Newcastle, a club like Newcastle at that time, in a very similar manner. 2 गोल आपको
Yep.
गया था, फिर we came on. तो जब वो लास्ट जो पैशन था ना, वो आफ्टर द लास्ट गोल, that
Yep.
continued and that's what like helped us to win the ultimate game. So
Yep.
I feel कि वहां पे भी बहुत बड़ा मेंटल फैक्टर होने वाला है.
Right.
डिलन, मैं आपका बोल
Definitely,
रहा हूँ.
definitely.
I think that is where Arsenal lost the plot last season, where they were 2-0 up against Liverpool in the first half. They let their guard down, and ever since that point of time, it just went downhill for them. Because then after that, they drew against West Ham 2 goals up. They drew against Southampton where they should have won. So those, in the end, we talk about City putting in the death knell with that 4-0, 4-1 or 3-1, whatever the scoreline margin was. But it came down to these 3 games where Arsenal dropped points at the end. Those were 6 points, and Arsenal ended up losing the league by 5 points.
Yep.
So that was the margin. Those 3 draws
So like
is
even in
where,
those draws, if you go to see, the biggest difference was that we are playing someone like Rob Holding in the center back role. So I mean,
yeah,
that guy's so bad. He doesn't play for Crystal Palace. Palace don't even play. He's gone to Palace. Like he's doesn't even play there. And we were playing instead of Saliba. So squad depth was definitely an issue for us. Ramsdale did cost us points. In the last part of the season, like especially the Southampton game. I very well remember that. Gave away the goal in the first 10 seconds, which was
The
like,
Alcaraz goal, yeah.
yes, yes. So like again, like I think we've replaced certain personnel who were like, which was evident, like they don't have it, what it takes to like win a league or something.
Mhm.
Probably now you have Saliba, you got Jerry and Timber coming back, you got Kivior. So I mean, our players are definitely better. We got Declan Rice in the midfield. Last season we were nothing. Like the
El
moment
Neni.
Thomas Partey, yeah, Thomas Partey is injured, Elneny and like Jorginho are playing because Thomas Partey is out. We didn't really have many options. Xhaka was there, but again, Xhaka was like, okay, good going forward, but he's not Declan Rice. Declan Rice is like, okay, you see, he's great defensively, he's great going forward. So of course we replace certain personnel, and I hope that is what makes the difference, because last season that was the issue. And honestly, last season when we started with this squad, no one was expecting us to challenge for the title. Everyone thought, okay, the best we'll go is third or fourth, to like in a nice top four fight. So last season, like being in a title race was surprising, but yeah, as you said, those three draws were denting. But then I really hope that we've covered up for that with these
Turned the
four
corner
signings.
this time around, yeah.
Yep,
हम लोग का भी सेम है. We did not expect for the title. मतलब see, this is such a stupid
exactly.
thing. We had a good team. Everybody was like कि settle होंगे नहीं होंगे, and then boom, we won the title. So this
Yep,
feels good as well, and his
This
Klopp's last
was,
season as well.
believe it or not, I think that's how it worked for us as well. We had a great first season under Ten Hag, won trophy, finished third, made a cup final, made a continental quarter final. Uh, we got in players that Ten Hag wanted, and it was expected that we'd put in a much better showing with a good preseason. But then again, started bad, got injuries, uh, so much public
Injury played a
outcry.
very major role in your downfall.
The takeover situation did not help for vast majorities of the season. So there was everything. I mean, not I'm not giving excuses. It shouldn't sound as one also. While we've been lackluster on the pitch, there have been issues that have forced the manager's hand as well. So yeah, I mean, momentum is a very fickle ally when it comes to football, and when it comes to declare resulting in the outcome of football matches. So
exactly. And as we were discussing earlier, like United. When you talk about United, like when I guess Bhaskar was talking about Eric Ten Hag having man management issues, I honestly think it's not Eric Ten Hag. It's like the players you have right now. Like
absolutely,
the yeah
it's
is the
about time. It's about time that we as fans, we are tired of seeing this vicious cycle of managers getting the boot every time. The one
exactly.
thing that has been consistent with each manager getting sacked is these players not turning up.
Yep.
And for fucking once, I can see players fighting for the manager. You you do not go to Anfield and get in a 0-0 draw when there is talk about players downing tools. Even against Man City, that was an injury ravished squad. We managed to hold them for 60 minutes. Now, obviously, you don't get points for moral victories, but what Ten Hag is trying to implement, there were evidences of it in bits and pieces. It's just that we are not able to control games. Uh, we are not able to control our midfield, which is so open. It's so open. Like if if this Arsenal team, despite not able to create chances, plays against United in the way that we play, you all are scoring at least 3 or 4 in the first 25 minutes of the game.
Yep.
25 minutes,
True, true, true.
you all are ending that contest.
Yep.
Constant,
Despite
constant pressure.
despite the fact that you all don't take your chances, you all are ending that contest in the first 25 minutes itself. That's how bad the midfield is. So square pegs and round holes does not help. That's because of injuries, but so there are certain issues that the manager has to take blame for. But like I believe there are a lot of factors that come to play for United's poor performances this season.
Yep, definitely. And that's what, like, it's unfair to blame it all at Ten Hag. Like, yes, there's a portion of it, but I see it's not more than 20 to 30% of the problem. I mean, I
Yep.
feel that's the proportion of the problems that's with the manager. The remaining is on the players. Like, it's definitely like some of them don't deserve to play for the shirt anymore.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I mean, I've seen Man United, like in its glorious days, what you guys used
Exactly.
to be, and this is not like some of these players definitely don't deserve to play for the club. Like probably
No, they
loan them
don't.
out or
They,
sell them.
loan,
Yeah.
you might as well terminate their contracts for all I care. I just want my club to be competitive, to be competent. This is not that. My
Exactly.
Here's the thing. Uh, you give us a proper semblance of a structure, like in the sense where there is talk about Ineos determining the structure of play now. Give it and make sure that you buy players according to that profile.
Exactly.
Fuck players out from the club immediately. There are certain players who, like you said, just not cut for the club, and there are some who can do a job, but it's not required at this point
Yep.
in time. They're too. The club
And
is too big for them.
Delvin bhai, I'll tell you one thing. Matlab, I, for one, am a guy who loves the British profile of players. I feel कि England or Premier League is known for that. सी दिस इज द थिंग, मतलब आप आईएसएल में इंडियंस को बोलो, आप सीरिया में इटालियंस बोलो, फ्रेंच लीग में फ्रेंच बोलो, बुंदेसलीगा में जर्मन्स बोलो, एक डोमिनेशन उनका हमेशा रहता है. देयर विल बी काउंटलेस सालास, काउंटलेस ऑनरीज, दे आर देयर. बट वही आपका एक स्कोल्स, एक जेरार्ड, एक लैम्पार्ड, एक टेरी हमेशा रहेगा. बिकॉज दोज आर द गाइज, यू नो, मतलब एक होता है अपना खुद का जो, द वन हु ब्रिंग्स इट आउट, द होम बॉय, द लोकल बॉय, द लोकल hero. And if Ineos takes a shift in the British system, promotes British players, gives the opportunity to them, trust me, it will help England in the long run. Because last
It
time भी
will.
when Man U did this, भाई क्योंकि आप देखो ना, मैं बहुत ऑनेस्टली बोल रहा, आज से 20 साल पहले, if you see a French guy or if you see a Colombian guy and if you see an English guy, you will choose the English guy. Today you will choose the Colombian guy. मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा कि ये खराब है, बट ये सही भी नहीं है. बिकॉज समवे और द अदर कुछ ना कुछ चीजें होती है, बहुत लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए मैटर करती है. अ लॉट ऑफ गुड इंग्लिश टैलेंट इज लॉस्ट इन द वे बिकॉज ऑफ दिस. माई क्लब लिवरपूल, they some I see them going over for Nigerian players, these मतलब French players, German players, they are quality, but England में भी quality है, आप उसको ढूंढो. We found Harvey Elliott, the workhorse from England. A lot of good English players, Scottish players, Irish players. The foundation of the British Premier League, फाउंडेशन ऑफ फुटबॉल इन इंग्लैंड जो था एक टाइम पे. एंड आई फील अगर इनियोस यहाँ पे आया ना, दे विल ब्रिंग बैक द रूट्स. एंड
I think
दैट इज नेवर
another
अ बैड थिंग.
another yeah another important aspect of us as fans is we need to learn to be patient as United
एग्जैक्टली.
fans. We are some of the most impatient lot. I'm not talking about myself. I do fraternize with a lot of like-minded United people, but I have to give it out there that we are some of the most reactionary, some of the most brain dead, and some of the most impatient people that the earth is inhabited. Like we need to get our house in order. Now you let's take Rashford's case for example, where he's going through a poor run of form. Yes, these fans don't understand the line between criticism and vitriol. That is
Yeah.
that is that is the that's a huge problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
For Arsenal, let's take the Kai Havertz situation for example. Kai Havertz has been frustrating. You'll agree to it. He's been
Yeah. Yeah.
frustrating for large stretches of the season.
Of
Y'all
course. Of
don't
course.
call him a donkey every 2 games. Y'all don't call him headless chicken or whatever it is. I'm just being very vanilla with the insults at this point.
Yep. Yep.
But,
Yep. Yep.
but you understand what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
Parthiv,
Exactly.
in your case, it's Darwin Nunez. He's been he gives frustrating performances after
Luis Diaz
frustrating
as well.
performances.
Luis Diaz as well.
Yeah,
Luis Diaz,
y'all
Cody Gakpo.
y'all y'all don't go on rants every 2 days saying
No,
that we
no.
want him out of the club.
Yeah.
He's not fit to wear with the shirt. You only PR this that.
Yeah.
This is what in United it's a different case. You have one bad game, you get racially abused. You get 2 bad games, you get death threats and bomb scares. That's the sad reality of
That's
playing
nasty.
for United. And it also doesn't help that the media is always out for us. It's always out for us. So
No, but then it's the
I mean,
size of the club. It clearly shows the size
yeah,
of the
it
club.
is.
Because,
It
yeah,
is. It is.
is the size of the club because like you guys, okay, like in terms of as a commercial factor, one of the biggest clubs in the world commercially. So of course you're going to get the media attention and PR and all this negative PR, and you're going to have a lot of these fans who are not actually fans and who are just there for the news, who are there for the dressing room stuff, who don't really watch games. Like they don't
Hmm.
really watch games. So you
Yeah.
and they put out opinions. So you got a lot of these guys, and it's very natural for a club like United to have it, given the size of it. So probably that is why you see those kind of player like fans. You probably don't see it at Arsenal or Liverpool, because it's like at Arsenal Liverpool, yes, we have a reactionary set of fans. Okay, we have those AFTV, this that we've got those, but then like the majority, what you see, there's a rational voice. For Liverpool, I would say it's like Hugo Lawrence McKenna and people like that. There's a rational voice always coming out. For United, I mean, like the most famous thing is Mark Goldbridge. Sadly, like that's the sad reality. That's the sad reality.
Yeah, that is, it is what it is. But yeah, I
Yep.
think big steps. I think for me this summer is very crucial from an on field and off field perspective as well. The
Agreed.
sooner the sooner Ashworth starts work, the better it is for us, because if Ashworth is not able to get into that DOF position by the summer, then that's Ineos's first summer wasted.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Actually, while we are on it, Michael Edwards has come back to Liverpool as the
Good
new
move.
CEO of the football division. So, see,
Yes.
now before everybody is on like Edwards the genius, all that, Edwards is a very accomplished gentleman. He's a very accomplished guy because he had Jurgen Klopp. At the same
Mhm.
time, Jurgen Klopp is the manager he is because he had Edwards. They
Yep.
are it's like a lock and a key situation. The right lock and the right key. So it has to work out in that way only. सो आई
Agreed.
फील कि वहां पे भी बहुत अच्छा काम भी हुआ बिकॉज एडवर्ड्स आया. अभी देखो कुछ चीजें है ना, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल हेंडरसन को एडवर्ड्स वांटेड हेंडरसन टू गो आउट. क्लॉप वांटेड हिम टू बी देयर. क्लॉप हैड समथिंग, ही हैड समथिंग. लास्ट दिन खराब गया इसीलिए हम लोग बोल रहे हैं. अच्छा अच्छा आता तो हम लोग नाम बोलते. फिर प्लेयर्स
True.
लाइक ग्रोजेज एंड ऑल वो भी मतलब इसी ने मतलब मतलब क्या बोलते हैं अपने यही ने लिया था बट फिर वो काम नहीं किया. So
Hmm.
yahi it's a mixed situation. It may work, it may not. But
Agreed.
post flop, this seems like a good decision.
No,
And
no,
just before
definitely.
ending it, we have had a brilliant session here. Baby Jesus
Yep.
Bhai, thank you for coming. और आना
Anytime,
and
bro.
share your blessings.
Yes, yes,
Before
for
ending,
sure.
season end climax होने वाला है, बहुत interesting होगा. And I just hope कि और एक 98 point thriller ना हो तीन टीम्स के बीच में. अगर हो गया तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होगा. Pushar Parmar Bhai has said thoughts about Inter being underestimated in Europe. Bhai, it's not about only Inter, it's about the Serie A in general. यहाँ पे you put Milan, I'll give an example. You put Real, you put Barca, you put Man City. You put, let's say Milan in the mix of four teams.
Mhm.
Milan has more trophies than two of them combined. Milan has, let's say, even if Milan had beaten Bayern and Liverpool to that point, people would still think City were the favorites. Because the situation of the league is as of so key, people don't मतलब estimate the Syria guys. इंजाही बोलो किसी को भी बोलो. सो उसीलिए
Agreed.
उतना मतलब उनको हाइप नहीं मिलता. प्लस थोड़ा भी मतलब पब्लिसिटी वाइज थोड़ा डेड चल रहा है. सो या जस्ट बिफोर एंडिंग, क्लाइमैक्स होने वाला है. इट विल बी फन. नेक्स्ट
Agreed.
सीजन शायद हमारे पास इक्वल एज के मैनेजर्स होंगे 40-41. होपफुली कि
Probably.
नेक्स्ट सीजन
Probably.
जैबी एंड आर्टेटा आर लाइक कि चल ये सब
Oh.
बहुत हो रहा है, एक एक पेनल्टी आ जा, देखते थे किसमें कितना दम. टू मिडफील्डर्स. वैसे सब कुछ ना हो.
Probably can happen. कुछ भी हो
बट
सकता है.
हाँ, वी आर डूइंग गुड ऑन द सीरीज. 4 एपिसोड डिड नॉट थिंक इतना तक आएगा. न्यू गेस्ट आ रहे हैं. पहला दिन फुल लिवरपूल पैनल था, आज फुल चेंज हुआ है. आज आर्सेनल फैन भी आया है, मदद फैन भी आया है. Hopefully, let's continue. Even if when I after I go to uni, hopefully I will be able to continue with the series. See you guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming, Shubhravi bhai. Had great fun.
Thank you.
See you.
Ciao, guys. Good night.
Good night.